Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA?
MMA,
Nothing
yeah.
else?
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
MOBA players, stand the fuck up. Team Light Skin, stand the fuck up, because Robert Whittaker just held it down at UFC 225 in a fight of the year contender. Yoel Romero, the Soldier of God, came up, showed up, and showed out versus the current undisputed champion, Robert Whittaker. Yoel Romero, even if he won this fight, could not become the champion due to missing weight by 0.2 pounds, but he fought like the belt was still on the line. Yoel Romero came through at 41 years old in his third title fight in a row now. He came up short in this one. Now, he didn't win the belt versus Rockhold interim title fight because he missed weight, unfortunately, but he came up big in his third title fight against Robert Whittaker. Man, valiant effort by Yoel Romero. Hats off to Yoel for sure. I didn't even expect him to be able to go that hard into the 4th and 5th round and turn this into a fight of the year contender. But we still had action in the 4th and 5th round. What a fucking amazing performance. There were 2 times in this fight where Yoel Romero had Robert Whittaker rocked and he was going for the finish. Could have very well beat Robert Whittaker, I believe, in the 4th round and the 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. But the knockdown in the 4th round was really, he had Robert Whittaker in trouble. Robert Whittaker having to regain his senses. You know, I believe there was a front headlock position that allowed Robert Whittaker to recover for a little while in that 4th round. But what a fucking amazing fight, man. UFC 225 was just an insane night of fights, all the way from the fight past prelims. We had stuff going on like fucking, you know, the Rashad Evans knockout, Sergio Pettis' breakout performance against Joseph Benavidez. Those were on the early prelims. Go up, we had that crazy first round from Coulter and De La Rocha no one expected. Moving into the Curtis Blades, Alistair Overeem fight. But what about Esparza versus Gadea? That was a fight of the night contender before this fight. Then we got to the pay-per-view. Tai Tuivasa versus Arlovsky, Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson, Covington versus RDA, of course CM Punk versus Mike Jackson. But then we had this, like the fucking cherry on top. This was a great fight between 2 of the best middleweights in the world, but I didn't expect it to go like this and be one of the best fights of the year. Holy smokes, UFC 225 was a great night of fights. Best card of the year so far, and it lived up to the hype. So with that being said, man, it was a great performance by Robert Whittaker. He was able to get the W. Robert Whittaker was using his side kicks and front kicks to keep Yoel Romero at bay for a lot of the fight really smart. He was really targeting Yoel's knee, trying to keep him the fuck away. You know, it was like John Jones oblique kicks, but it was like, yeah, you know, it's like, looks like it could potentially hyperextend someone's knee if they're not careful. But hey, man, when you're fighting a fucking savage like Yoel Romero and you're fighting for your country and you're fighting with a fucking broken hand, oh, by the way, Robert Whittaker broke his thumb. It's being reported that his thumb was broken halfway into the 1st round. I believe Dana White said at the post-fight media scrum that it happened in the 3rd round, but I've seen some people from Robert Whittaker's team saying that he fought with a broken thumb for the last 4.5 rounds. So either way, whether it was halfway in the fight or early in the fight, Robert Whittaker was fighting this fight with a broken hand. Essentially, his thumb was fucked up, and he was still out here fighting. And if you were watching the fight, you could kind of see it, man. It looked like he was, you know, having a little trouble with one of his hands, like he potentially, you know, was trying to shake it off. And I mean, it was just interesting, you know, like halfway through the fight, even and if you were watching the fight, you probably saw like, damn, his hand might be broken here. But he's still fighting, still throwing his kicks. He got caught, almost got caught twice. Yoel tried to finish, wasn't able to, which made it for that much more of a great fight. Robert Whittaker in the first fight won the fight on one leg essentially for like 4 rounds. Had a bad knee injury going into the 1st round. I think going into this fight, he said he believes Yoel Romero like targeted his bad knee to try and make that happen in the 1st fight and try and have that advantage, which he got and still wasn't able to win. And going into this fight, I saw an interview where Robert Whittaker said he expected Yoel to kind of target his knee in this fight. So Robert Whittaker countered that with some oblique kicks of his own, going for Yoel's knee. Because I thought about this, like, if you're Yoel and you're trying to kick Whittaker in the knee, right? So you're lifting one leg up to kick him in his knee. What happens if Robert Whittaker's countering that shit and kicks you in the knee you're standing on? So if Robert Whittaker's presenting that threat of kicking you in the knee or the oblique or whatever, kicking in the knee just sounds dirty. But that's what it looks like. But Robert Whittaker was also landing high kicks, though. He wasn't just kicking him repeatedly like in the fucking knee. He wasn't just doing that. He was landing kicks to the body, front kicks to the face. I mean, Robert Whittaker was doing work with his kicks, and he had to. If he had a fucking broken hand, he decided to use well-rounded game, mixed martial arts. We're not boxing in here. If I was just a boxer and my hand was broke, I'd probably be fucked. But I'm about to come at you with these feet. You're going to be eating toes. You're going to be eating fucking corn. You know what I'm saying? You're eating these feet right now. He kicks to the body, kicks to the face, doing whatever he needed to do to win the fight. Yoel had moments, though. He connected with some huge shot. Robert Whittaker, if he didn't have a chin, would have probably been asleep. But he was able to recover, shake off the cobwebs, come back, land more kicks because he's got a damn broken hand, but he's still in there fucking fighting it out, kicking away because his hand is broken. So now Robert Whittaker has essentially beat Yoel with one leg and one hand, kinda. I mean, it sounds worse than it was because this was a fucking hell of a fight. This fight, I feel like, was better than the first fight. As far as, like, you know, the first fight, it was a solid performance from Robert Whittaker, nice title defense, but this one was just like a fight of the year contender, the back and forth. Yoel was in it. You know, people thought Yoel might have cardio issues coming into this fight, missing weight, draining himself, but he looked good, man. So you have to take your hat off for both of these fighters, Robert Whittaker and Yoel Romero. They ended up making the main event the best fight of the night, and that's rare sometimes. Usually the main event doesn't always end up being the best fight of the night because this is MMA and anything can happen. Anything was happening. Everything was happening. It was a wild night of fights, and these guys still took home fight of the night. I think Dana White said Robert Whittaker got $100,000 for the fight of the night bonus. I didn't hear him say it was like 50 and 50. So, I mean, that's another topic for another day. We'll talk about that a little later on. So, if you came through last night to the Fight Companion, I appreciate it. That shit was super fun. Going crazy. My voice is still a little out. But also, so thank you guys for coming through to that. Also, now we're doing full-time MMA in the morning every single weekday at like 11 a.m. Eastern. So in the morning time, around noon, make sure you tune in. We'll be covering everything in the world of MMA. A little bit of a lull. This is the last UFC event for like 2 or 3 weeks. But we are going to have Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series actually starting in a couple of days. Can't wait for that. I'm going to be tuning into that. But other than that, man, yeah, with that being said, make sure you hit subscribe if you're new. Thumbs up if you're part of the family. And let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for checking out this video. If you're new or if you're just slacking on your pimping, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to help support this independent channel, you can either click the PayPal button in the description or you can go to patreon.com/fulltimemma and consider becoming a patron. I'm out.
This is #1 bullshit.